Right, war number 5, we're up against GT40, the undisputed best war alliance in the game. There you guys can see that they banned CGR, great ban, Kitty, decent ban, and Scorpion, awful ban, total waste against us. So I'm not sure what you guys were thinking, but here, because of those bans, we're actually going to bring in Hercules. This is the first time I have ever used Hercules in Alliance War. For a long time, he was rank 3, and I wasn't planning on ranking him up because everybody has him at rank 4 already. As you guys probably know, I'm very big on roster diversity within my battle group and just in general, because I really only care about Alliance War, and having a 10th Hercules in my battle group doesn't really help anybody. But GT40 uses Hercules for a lot of stuff that on paper might look insane, but that's why they have such a fast fight clear time. And it did cross my mind that just using Hercules, a champ that powerful, could give our players some confidence. And the mental aspect of Alliance War is such a massive and I think probably underappreciated component to Alliance War. So we thought, look, if we have any prayer of being competitive in this war against GT40, who has, coming into this war, had 3 consecutive Alliance Donuts, which had never been done in the game, we need to just swing for the fences, basically. So we're bringing in the guy that swings his battle club, and I signed a lot of Herculeses this war. That's a champ I rarely assign. So anyway, okay, so this Terrax here, it crossed my mind that this was a trap fight. I knew going in this was probably a trap because this node has a regen mechanic. Terrax is very aggressive with his rock field up, and because of the global, he's going to gain those flourish charges, and he's going to stay in rock field a lot. Now, what I thought was I could parry heavy, and I would be fine, and I would be able to keep those regions off. The problem is the regions are coming on a lot faster than I expected, and Kabam doesn't define in the node description how long you have to stand near the defender for those regions to come up. So at this point, I'm like, all right, I'm in trouble. I'm 30 seconds in. He's at 100%, and he's got 4 stacks of those regions. They're doing a ton. Look at that. I mean, they're doing literally 2,000 per tick. They're giving him 2,000 regen per tick. So I need to get him out of Rockfield. And I've just got to back off here, and then I need to find a window to hit his block to cancel out those flourishes. There we go. Okay, so now I think we're in decent shape. I've got my 2 feats of strength, or my 2 persistent feats of strength. I've got 8 total in this fight, which is fine. Here I thought that I might die. I know I'm going to get punished here. I do. Fortunately, it just does a medium, but now I'm in assassin range, so I have to make sure that I don't fall to 1%, because if I do, there is potentially a very strong chance, up to a 50% chance, I think, that I don't come out of this fight alive, and that my immortality is canceled by the opponent's assassin. So I'm also running suicides, of course. I've only got 1 in recoil for this fight. But yeah, I'm just like, I can't really throw a ton of specials there. I had a feeling he was going to juke me. He did, and I'm able to get out of the fight with 13% health. We never use Hercules for Terrax, especially with this global. We always use Absorbing Man, Wiccan. There are some other options that we can use for Terrax, but the reason that I brought Hercules and I assigned Hercules to myself for that fight is because I thought it would be a decent place to build him up. I am going to be taking some pretty dangerous fights with Hercules. And there you guys probably saw the next node. This is obviously Masochism over time, which Apoc hard counters. And the next node is a Mephisto on Masochism over time and Strike Counter Fury. I wanted to use Apocalypse for that for a couple reasons. Number 1, I think he's the best counter for that node. And then number 2, I was hoping to gain Incinerate immunity from Mephisto, because I am going to be taking that Nick Fury on node 22, which is Hazard, Shift, Incinerate, and Shock, and then it's also got like a Prowess mechanic, and it's got some other stuff on there. But I feel very comfortable fighting Nick Fury, and I feel virtually invincible with Apocalypse. I've never died with Apocalypse since he's been at rank 4. And you guys saw, if you guys saw my last video, you saw that I came very, very close last war to dying with him for the first time. But anyway, this is going to be an incredibly expensive war. One of the most expensive wars I can ever remember. I'm sure that there have been wars in the past in which I have itemed out. I can't remember them, but this war I come very close. And yeah, I think that this might be the last war I ever use Hercules. So I do have suicides on here. I've just got the half suicides with double edge. I'm now bleed immune, but I wanted the additional damage for the Nick Fury fight because that's a fight where I felt confident going in, but that's a fight where it could go wrong, and if it goes really wrong, it could be a tough fight to survive. And obviously, up against GT40, we really can't afford any silly deaths to defenders like Nick Fury with, a great option like Apocalypse. So, okay, so I was standing near him hoping to gain Incinerate immunity because his aura does give Apocalypse Incinerate immunity if he's standing near it for 8 seconds. But unfortunately it doesn't. I come out of that fight, at like 60% health. And Apocalypse, I'm max boosted for this entire war. I use 6-hour boosts for health. And yeah, I mean, Apocalypse has just a ton of health. He's got 90,000 health right now. It's just so expensive. So here I think, yeah, I'm just gonna spend units because I'm concerned about iteming out, and I didn't want to do the smaller 9,500 health potions other than topping him off. But here I've got 3 prowesses going in, or 3 code going in. And yeah, my game plan here, I'm going to use invulnerability instead of power start 1 because ultimately the power start 1 would just quicken this fight by maybe 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, and I feel comfortable enough fighting Fury that I didn't think that was very necessary. Now, I don't have an Odin Shock pre-fight or Odin Shock buff, Shock Resist buff, but I do have 4 out of 4 in Energy Resist, the Mastery, which helps a little bit. Now I've gained Incinerate immunity, and I'm at 91% health. So that's a pretty good situation here. And as I spoke about earlier in this season when I took Nick Fury, I think actually I took Nick Fury last where I've taken it. This is my 3rd time taking him this season, but I do like blocking hits intentionally to give him flourish buffs because then it's easier to push him to his SP2, and ideally, you just have him keep recycling his SP2 and stuff. Now I'm going to do my best throughout this fight to avoid hitting him during the shock phase, but there are going to be times where just due to the rhythm of the fight, I'm going to kind of ignore the hazard shift mechanic here. And obviously I don't have to worry about Incinerate anymore because I'm immune. So this is a rank 5 Nick Fury. And yeah, it's honestly, it's just about being slow and safe and patient and just worrying about the defender here. I'm just worrying about the mechanics of the fight and Nick Fury. I'm not really worrying about the prowess because if I play this correctly, he's never going to throw an SP1. And I will dex the SP2 100 times out of 100. So I'm not really worried about the prowess building up too much. I just have to watch his tactical charges, and I have to make sure that he doesn't throw an SP1. Okay. I am getting ticked down by recoil and shock, but all I care about is coming out of this without dying. I did get clipped there, obviously, by a little hit, and here I am totally fine with him being unblockable. I just need to bait this SP2. Once I do, I know that I can. Oh wow, okay, so I actually waited out the shock, so that was kind of risky. I do still have an invulnerability boost, but I knew that I could backdraft and throw my SP1, and I was very confident it would kill him. So it looks like a rough fight coming out of that under 40%, but I was in control the entire time, and running suicides with Apocalypse is not a good idea in terms of the cost efficiency of it. But again, we're up against GT40. I thought that it was more important to have a little extra damage in that fight and I would spare no expense this war, even if I had to dip into my units, which of course I did. So, all right, here for these next 2 fights, we're using Hercules, and the goal here is to get out of these fights as quickly as possible, but we need to make sure that we get 2 feats of strength in both fights. I'm obviously not going to intentionally take a heavy or a special to get an additional strength. I'm totally fine with 6, but I have a tough, scary fight, my last fight of this war with Hercules, and I wanted to make sure that I was, that I had as many strength as possible. I did notice that GT40, when they run Hercules, and they run a lot of Hercules, they use the iHulk synergy, which is very clever. It gives Hercules 3 additional strength at the beginning of each fight. And in hindsight, I probably could have made that work for myself here instead of bringing White Magneto. But I brought White Magneto to help with other people, to place guidance for other people on other fights, and then also I'm going to use one here in a second for that Atuma, just to make sure that he's, he's not purifying anything against me. Now, here, I mean, this fight is very, very simple. I am going to play it. I could have punished that because he threw a second medium at me, but I'm just looking for reparries here, and I am going to bait this SB2 out. I don't need to worry about the fight duration or anything like that, and I'm not going to, take a risk by throwing an SP2 to try to kill him and risking him getting to an SP3, because if he does that, then I'm going to die. So we get out of that fight. Pretty much all of the health that we lost were from suicide, so that's totally fine. And then this Atuma, I do think that he is going to reflect a little bit of the damage because of his, scaly skin or whatever it is. Hercules is going to get through this fight so quickly that it doesn't really matter. And again, I will happily trade the damage that I take for a couple extra feats of strength for a fight that I'm much more concerned about. This one, I was not concerned about whatsoever. So we're going to knock him down because of the protection, and then we can do a backdraft with our Infuriate, go ahead and get our 6th feat of strength. That was super weird. That was terrifying there. And I don't even know how that worked. That has to be like a hitbox programming issue. If you guys have been using Hercules against Atuma and that's happened to you, or if you've used other champs against Atuma and that's happened to you, throwing an SP1 and just, I don't know, he kind of like ghosted me there, phased through it or something like that. But, yeah, I don't know. Okay, and then, obviously, I'm not going to be taking that Rintra ever again after dying to him earlier this season. All right, and then this was the fight that I was mostly worried about. It's a rank 4 Apocalypse on the Conflictor node. There are some really, really strong counters to this. America Chavez comes to mind immediately. She's really perfect for this node with guidance. But, yeah, we don't, we're going to use Hercules here. Hercules is a very good option. And the plan here, because this has Combat Deja Vu Prowess, which gives him a Prowess effect every time we use the same basic attack twice, I do have guidance here that I'm going to place for myself, or that I place for myself. The plan is to parry light, medium, and then I'm going to make sure to, when I can, hit into his block to remove all the flourish charges. And there I trigger Infuriate by doing 2 hits and then backing up. Literally going into the fight, I was like, this is the only thing I don't want to do. And I did it, and it's really hard to even explain, but I was sitting at I sit in my office. I work from home. I have an office with 2 desks. One is like my personal desk, one is my work desk, and I sit at my personal desk to do war fights all the time. I close my door so that I'm not disrupted, and that's just my routine. And I literally yelled at myself when I did that, but look, overall, we're in total control of this fight. We have an invulnerability boost. If he gets to an SP3, that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. We're blocking all these specials, obviously. Obviously, the SP3, all of the specials that he throws, he is going to place some kind of effects on me because, weakness effect, because I'm running suicides here. So since I already have the poison, I'll get the weakness. But I don't care about any of that stuff. Here, I should have cleared his flourish charges before throwing this, because when he comes out of this animation, he is going to be at an SP3. But again, it doesn't matter. I'll eat it. I'll get a couple effects on me, not a big deal. And there, he just decides to not throw his SP3, and he gives me a window to parry him and get up to my SP2, and we're able to finish the fight. So very happy with that. We did lose this war. GT40 had their 4th consecutive Alliance donut, which is truly incredible. Like that, I can't even imagine how how impressive that is. It's hard to articulate, but good for those guys. It was really fun on our side to to really push this war and to kind of just measure ourselves up against an alliance that is I think the most accomplished alliance at this point that mcoc has ever had in terms of war competitiveness. So we improved to we dropped to 4-1. I improved to 35-1 on the season. Really fun war. GT40 guys, congrats. I really hope that you guys continue this streak, unless we match again, which I'm not sure that will happen, but if we do, then maybe we'll be the alliance to end the streak. But anyway, congrats to you guys. Keep it up. And leave a like and a comment, guys. Let me know what you thought of this video, of the fights. Definitely give me feedback on that Atuma. If everybody has had weird interactions with Atuma, I'll report it in the CCP if it hasn't already been reported. But that's it. I will catch you guys in the next war vid.